Hello, everyone. The time is 7:05 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us for this information session. Tonight, we will be discussing the online and part-time graduate programs in applied physics offered through the Whiting School of Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. My name is Cheryl Williams, and I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Marketing here at the Whiting School of Engineering. With me tonight is Dr. Harry Charles. Dr. Charles is the Associate Dean for Non-Resident Graduate Programs here at the Whiting School of Engineering. He also chairs our graduate programs in Applied Physics and heads the Applied Physics Laboratories Education Center, where we host the majority of our on-site coursework for our part-time graduate programs. He is a member of the principal professional staff at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. He is a fellow and former president of the International Microelectronics and Packaging Society, a life fellow of IEEE, and a past member of the Board of Governors of IEEE's Component Packaging and Manufacturing Technology Society. He has published over 210 papers on electronic devices and packaging, along with 17 patents and several pending patent applications. He teaches a number of courses for our programs, including Introduction to Electronic Packaging, Materials Science, and Alternate Energy Technology. Dr. Charles, would you like to say hello?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's webinar.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Charles. For tonight's presentation, we'll start off with an introduction to Johns Hopkins Engineering. Next, Dr. Charles will discuss with you our part-time and online degree programs in applied physics. Then we'll review some helpful information on tuition and payment options, talk about next steps and important dates, and we'll end with a live question and answer session. If you have any questions at any point in the presentation, please type them into the questions tab on the control panel. If you are joining us via a cell phone or a tablet, simply select the question mark to access the question section. We'll address all questions at the end of the presentation. So why study engineering at Johns Hopkins University? Johns Hopkins University was founded in 1876 as the nation's first research university. The School of Engineering opened its doors in 1913, and in 1915 it began offering part-time engineering coursework as night classes for technical workers. Since then, we've grown to offer more than 20 master's programs that can be completed part-time. 18 of these programs can be completed entirely online. Our programs are designed by people who thoroughly understand your industry. We like to say that our programs are for engineers by engineers. Our faculty are all expert and working engineers, and our faculty and instructional designers construct new and update existing coursework every year so that it includes the most up-to-date information. In addition to our part-time programs, the Whiting School of Engineering has over 25 research centers and institutes. This includes our strong partnership with the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. We also offer full-time bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs that are conducted in residence at our Homewood campus in Baltimore, Maryland. Our online and part-time programs are led by respected senior engineers from our Applied Physics Laboratory and faculty from our full-time programs. We are ranked in the top 20 best online graduate engineering programs by U.S. News and World Report. And of all the schools that are included in these rankings, we have the largest online part-time student population. So not only will you have lots of fellow students going through a similar learning experience, but these rankings really speak to the quality of our programs regardless of our size, and our school is experienced and well equipped to help you navigate graduate education as an online student. The degree that you earn studying with us part-time is of the same quality as our full-time degree programs. Your diploma will not say online or part-time. You are eligible and highly encouraged to participate in commencement. And as a graduate, you will be one of more than 28,000 Whiting School alumni and will join our esteemed international alumni community. So that is an overview of who we are and the value of our programs. Now, Dr. Charles is going to talk to you more about our programs in applied physics. Dr. Charles?
Yes. Are you looking for something different, something cross-discipline? Are you curious about space, the oceans, the atmosphere, the atom? Does your work involve optics, materials, solid state, fields, and waves? Always wondered about the universe and how things work? Interested in nanoparticles, sensors, detectors, and superlattices? Need a flexible curriculum that bridges the gap between engineering and physics? If the answer is yes to any one of those, try applied physics. We offer two different programs in applied physics. One is the Master of Science in Applied Physics, and the other is a Postmaster certificate. Typically, the degree is structured with 10 courses over a 5-year period. We require 4 core courses, 4 program electives, and then you can have an additional 2 course electives. And the 2 courses may be selected from applied physics, or they may be selected from one of several of our other programs. We have some concentrations: materials and condensed matter, and photonics. We talked about core courses. We have 8 courses that we list as core: math methods, electromagnetics, statistical mechanics and thermo, classical mechanics, quantum mechanics, modern physics, principles of optics, and material science. And our requirement is that you must take 3 from the first 6 there, the ones highlighted in blue, and then the 4th course can be taken from any of the 8. And if you're in the materials and condensed matter track or concentration, you would take material science as your 4th course. If you're in photonics, you would take principles of optics as your 4th course. So we're just going to take a look at a general applied physics example. You might select math methods, electromagnetics, statistical mechanics, and thermo, and then either classical mechanics or modern physics. We'd modify that, say, for materials and condensed matter, just like I mentioned. You take math methods, electromagnetics, StatMed, and material science. If I was in photonics, we share photonics jointly with the electrical and computer engineering program, and I would take math methods, quantum mechanics, principles of optics, and then I select one from the ECE programs and Fourier techniques or laser fundamentals or fundamentals of photonics. And here's a sample program for photonics. Again, you see the 4 core courses we talked about as a program electives. That means they come from applied physics program. You do computer optical design, computer optical detectors and applications, optics in MATLAB, and quantum information processing. And then for your electives, you might take from the ECE program, you might take Fourier techniques in optics or laser fundamentals. Online study. Here's a sample online study program. Math methods, electromechanics, quantum mechanics, modern physics are all online. Optical detectors, fundamentals of space systems 1 and 2, physics of remote sensing are all online. And then we have some other electives which are also online in applied physics, and many soon to be online. We've got several coming online this fall, and even more planned for the spring. So you would take a couple online electives either from applied physics or another program. What are our admissions requirements? A bachelor's degree in science and engineering. Most of our students have a GPA of 3.0 or better. previous coursework. We're looking for math background, vectors, ordinary differential equations. Hopefully you've got some physics, general physics, modern physics, some mechanics, and probably some E&M. But we're flexible on those requirements, and we look at each application, consider your background experience, and all those things. We do not require a GRE. Program pathways. You can get your degree in applied physics in 3 different ways. You can do it entirely online. You can do it online and or on-site, or you can do it still on-site. Primary location for applied physics program is the Applied Physics Laboratory in Howard County. Certain other programs like materials and condensed matter, you might take courses that originate on the Homewood campus also, but not necessary, but you can. We graduate somewhere between 10 and 20 applied physics students each year. We're a small program. And for the last several years, we survey the students who graduate, and pretty much every time we get 100% agreement on content of their curriculum, met their professional needs. They were satisfied with our course selections. The AP degree prepared them well for additional responsibilities in their career. And most important of all, they would recommend the AP program to other fellow students.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Charles. Now we'd like to share some information to help you take this next step. Some of the most common questions that our admissions team gets from prospective students is, what is the tuition and what resources are available to help me pay? So here it is. Our tuition is currently $4,250 per course. Our courses are each 3 credits, so this is the total tuition cost for each 3-credit course. Because our tuition fluctuates every year due to inflation, we encourage students to budget $45,000 total for their degree. This may exclude books and materials. The cost of books and materials really varies depending on the coursework that you register for. But in addition to tuition, our students do not pay any fees. So there's no semesterly technology fee that our students have to pay. Our online and part-time students do not have to pay a student union fee, for example. We do not charge an application fee to submit your application for admissions. The only fee that our students pay is a fee at the end of their course of study with us, known as a graduate's fee. You have a variety of financing options available to you depending on your personal circumstance. I really encourage you to investigate and to take advantage of any education benefits that your employer may offer. The majority of our students are employed and using some sort of employer tuition assistance to help them fund their education. We unfortunately do not have any scholarships available for our online and part-time graduate students, but there are other associations and organizations that do. For example, the National Consortium for Graduate Degrees for Minorities in Engineering, otherwise known as the National GEM Consortium, does offer fellowship programs. Rules, requirements, and application instructions can be found on GEM's website. The application for these fellowship programs is open from July 1st to November 13th. If you are a U.S. citizen or a qualifying U.S. resident, you may be eligible to use financial aid. The financial aid that's available for graduate students is largely unsubsidized loans. So similar to that, you can, of course, finance your education through a personal loan. And if you are active or retired military and you have veterans benefits, you can, of course, utilize these to finance your education. We do have a number of active duty and retired military enrolled in our online and part-time programs. If you are planning on using veterans benefits to finance your education, here are some things to keep in mind. The URL that you see here on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/veterans, has some great information on what forms you need to complete and submit to use veterans benefits at Johns Hopkins. For students using Chapter 33 post 9/11 benefits, the Department of Veterans Affairs sets an annual cap on tuition for private schools. That cap is $23,671.94. And this is for an entire academic school year. So it does include the fall, spring, and summer semesters, and then it renews every fall. We just spoke a little bit about our tuition costs. 5 courses will come in under the tuition cap. The cost for 5 courses is $21,250. 6 courses, however, will exceed that tuition cap. The cost for 6 courses is $25,500. Johns Hopkins is a yellow ribbon school. How yellow ribbon works at Johns Hopkins is that it is applied in the summer semester or once the tuition cap has been exceeded. And if it is exceeded, qualifying students can receive up to $1,000 per year. It's awarded on a first come, first served basis. Coming this fall, there are some changes regarding how the VA will be calculating the housing allowance for Chapter 33 recipients. BAH, Basic Housing Allowance, will be calculated using the zip code for your on-site classes, i.e. the physical location of the classroom utilized. We are also happy to announce that Hopkins offers various networking opportunities for our veteran students. For current students, there is an online networking group via LinkedIn. Simply search the Johns Hopkins University Veterans Connection group, or Johns Hopkins Veterans Connection, to find that group and to join. Alumni, there is a networking group that's offered through our Alumni Affinity office, and you can find more information by visiting alumni.jhu.edu. Students who are educated outside of the U.S. do have some additional admissions requirements. They are that they must submit an international credit evaluation of any credit earned at non-U.S. institutions. We prefer that they go through WES, which is a third-party credit evaluation company for this evaluation, excuse me. And the evaluation product that you want to request is called the ICAP. These students also must provide proof of English proficiency via, for example, qualifying scores on a TOEFL exam. Unfortunately, international students studying on an F1 student visa are not eligible to enroll in our online and part-time graduate programs, as our registrar's office can no longer issue these students an I-20. The I-20 is a form necessary to maintain an F1 visa status. An F1 student visa status. It confirms the location of a student's classes, that the student is indeed taking an in-person class at the university. We are migrating more and more of our coursework online at the request of our students. So we are not confident that we have enough on-site coursework for these students to meet their residency requirement. And it was a decision of the registrar's office to discontinue distributing this form. International students, however, are permitted to study online from their home country. Next steps and important dates. If you are interested in studying with us, your first step is to submit your application for admissions. You can do this by visiting the URL that you see on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/apply. Next step is to submit your academic transcripts and your professional resume. We have rolling admissions for our online and part-time programs. Typically, it takes us 4 to 6 weeks from the time that we receive a student's full application. So that's their electronic application plus their academic transcripts and their professional resume. 4 to 6 weeks to review that application packet and issue that applicant a decision letter. So with that timeline in mind, here are some important dates. The summer semester has already begun, so registration has closed for the summer. It actually began this week. Our fall semester, however, the registration for that opens on July 5th, and it begins on August the 27th. So it's right around the corner. You still have lots of time to submit your application documents. Given the amount of time necessary for our academic and our admissions departments to review your application, I would highly recommend that you submit your all of your materials by June the 15th at the latest, if possible. And that is the end of the prepared portion of our presentation. Now I'm going to open it up to you to have Dr. Charles answer some of your questions. Again, how you can ask Dr. Charles a question is simply to type it into the questions tab on your control panel. If you are joining us via a cell phone or a tablet, simply select the question mark to access the questions section. Dr. Charles, are you ready for some questions?
I sure am.
All right, wonderful. First question, has anyone used the online MS in applied physics to gain entry into a PhD program in physics?
Well, the question is the MS in applied physics suitable or has enough credentials to get into a PhD or a Doctor of Engineering program? And the answer is absolutely yes. Online, we're just starting to see graduates now, so I can't answer definitively whether they would be accepted into the program or not, but because we have been late in embracing the online ability to offer a degree, but many of our applied physics students who have graduated from our programs have gone on to advanced degrees. Yes.
All right, wonderful. Wonderful. How long does the program take to complete part-time? So we discussed earlier that there is a 5-year time limit on the amount of time a student can spend on their coursework for the program. But students can complete the program in 2 to 3 years, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the 5-year time limit was set so that you could take a single course both fall and spring for 5 years, and you'd have your 10 courses. But typically, students shoot for 2.5 to 3 years. In other words, they take 2 courses in the fall, 2 in the spring for 2 years, and then they pick up 1 each in the summer, for example. Or they take, they take 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, for 2 years, and then they go another semester and take 2 in the following fall or something. So yeah, nominally it's 2.5 to 3 years. Most of our students complete.
Wonderful. And is there a certain course load that you would recommend for, working professionals?
For the working professional, I would not recommend anything more than 2 courses a semester. I think, by the time you go to 3 courses, you've got a rather solid commitment of coursework, and then of course you have your daytime job, you have families and other personal commitments. So I would think 2 courses is the right amount.
All right, wonderful. So this is kind of an interesting question. That basically about the availability of online coursework. So you had mentioned earlier that that there's a number of courses that will be available online starting in the fall. Is the plan to migrate eventually all of the coursework online, or do you think that some of the coursework will need to remain on site?
I think it'll be possible to migrate all coursework online. Right now, our plan is to offer about 50-50 with the emphasis heading towards full online. But that'll take us, at the rate we're developing, that'll take us a few years to be fully online.
Okay. Okay. This is a great question, and maybe we can answer this attendee's question both for online courses as well as on-site courses. They ask, how does a student get help with, for example, homework problems or to get questions answered? So on-site coursework, let's start.
All right, so on-site, the simplest way is to meet with the instructor before and after class, send them emails, call them on the phone. All of our instructors make contact information available.
Wonderful.
Hopkins has just started a program where you can get access to tutors also. Cheryl, maybe you know the name of it. It escapes me right at the moment, but they have basically a website where you can go and sign up for a tutor or volunteer to be a tutor if you have experience in a certain area.
Oh, that's
But
wonderful.
but mainly it's interaction with the instructor. And that same thing carries over to the online courses. Online courses have regularly scheduled office hours where you can log on and chat with your professor. You can log on and chat with classmates. They also arrange individual calls, individual emails. So I think it's not easy, but it's straightforward for you to get your questions answered. You have to ask the instructor or find a tutor or something else.
All right. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Next question. This attendee has a question about admissions requirements. Do
Okay.
you need letters of recommendation?
Right now, we do not require letters of recommendation, but if for some reason you're applying to us and you have experience and maybe your undergraduate GPA was not as high as you would have liked it, I think letters of recommendation from your boss, from coworkers, might help in the selection process.
Wonderful. This attendee has questions about, I'm guessing, transfer coursework. Can you count some courses taken from a different university? What is the limit number of these courses?
Yes, you can transfer in up to 2 graduate courses. Now, there's some caveats. First of all, your transcript must say that they were taken for graduate credit. Second thing is they must be a course that's related to your course of studies in your master's program here at Hopkins. In other words, if you had, for example, if you were going to take electricity and magnetism, or electromagnetics as we call it, in the applied physics program, but you wanted to not have to take that course, you wanted to transfer in one from another university, that it would have to say it's a graduate level E&M course, and then you'd have to compare the content of that course with the content of the E&M course in order to replace it from your program. But we do allow up to 2 transfer courses.
All right.
So 8 courses with us, 2 perhaps with another institution.
There are some fees to, just to this attendee, there are some fees for transferring in outside credit.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I cannot remember what they are off the top of my head, but it is listed on our website if you would like more information. Yeah. There's a form that you need to submit, and then documentation that you have to submit, and then there's kind of a formal review process. So there's kind of a formal review process for things of this nature, and you can find more for specifics, for example, on the fee and things like that. I would direct you to our website.
Right.
Next question. What lab requirements are there for the program?
There are no lab requirements for the program. We offer some labs, like in ECE and applied physics, we have an optics lab. So if you'd like to take optics lab courses, we offer them. But there's no lab requirement. If it was a face-to-face total, we would have 10 3-credit courses of your choosing. They would not necessarily be a lab course. So there's no lab requirements.
All right. This attendee has a question about the concentration. Do you select a concentration right away at the beginning of your course of study?
You can. It would be preferable if you did. You want to do photonics, for example, because one of the things we're asking students who are admitted to do is fill out a tentative course plan of 10 courses that they plan to take, so that their advisor can look at that and see whether it makes sense or not. So if you identify you're in a photonics concentration, for example, as an advisor, I'd like to see you had 8 related courses to photonics. A lot of times people start out in a concentration, but then they decide, gee, I want to take a course in space, or I want to take some courses in another area, and they switch to a general applied physics degree, which is quite easy to do, and it's permissible. I mean, our goal is to really address the kinds of courses you want to take in some logical and reasonable manner. I don't want you to take 10 disparate courses, but if you're interested in general physics, then I want you to have mechanics, math, E&M, and those kind of things. So we would like you to declare a concentration to make sure that you then, in your tentative planning, have got the right courses you need to get the degree with the concentration.
Next question. Is it possible to earn acceptance into the program but need to take supplementary courses to solidify the background? So is it possible to be admitted as a provisional student and then take additional coursework?
Typically, in applied physics, we do not offer any provisional courses. When we admit somebody provisionally, what we typically do is recommend that they pass a couple of our regular applied physics courses with a grade of B or better. If they do that, then we will count those courses towards their 10 that they need to get the applied physics degree. So we don't have any remedial courses being offered in applied physics. A couple of our other EP programs do. They have what they call 200-level courses where you have to take those before you can even be admitted into the program. With applied physics, if you come in without the background we need, what we'll do is say recommend that you go to a community college or some other university to get these to build your requirements up. And then once you have those credentials, then we will reevaluate your admission into applied physics.
All right, great. Great. Well, we still have a couple more minutes here with Dr. Charles. We're happy to answer any of the questions that you may have. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to type it into the questions tab on your control panel or select the question mark on the, if you're joining us via an app on a cell phone or a tablet. I want to just take this moment and let everyone know that we are recording tonight's presentation. And so after the conclusion of this event, once that recording has been posted online, we will email you the link to that recording so that you can have it for future reference. If anyone, once this event concludes, if anyone thinks of additional questions that they wish that they had asked, or they're going about their day tomorrow and they think, I really actually want to know the answer to this question. Dr. Charles, would you like them to email those questions to me and then I can forward them to you?
Absolutely. That sounds like the right thing to do.
All right, wonderful. And I believe that you can do that just by responding to the email that you received with your login credentials for today's event. All right, Dr. Charles, I think this might be our final question for the evening. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. And so this question does have to do with research as well. Is there a thesis option, or can students get involved with research through the online program?
Uh, it has been approved that all EP programs could have a research or thesis option. Right now in applied physics, we offer two courses, one called a directed study in applied physics and the other an applied physics project. There are basically no lab facilities associated with EP, with the applied physics other than optics. We have an optics lab on site. So what students typically do in these applied physics project or directed studies, they work with an EP instructor and perhaps a mentor at their home organization, and they agree on a certain research project or a certain field of study, and if there's any lab needs associated with that, it would be done at their home institutions. We are contemplating putting in what we call an applied thesis option, which would replace two courses in our curriculum, but we're in the initial stages of that, of the planning for that. So it would be a year or so before we had a thesis option for our masters.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like we've come to the end of our questions. Dr. Charles, thank you so very much for your time this evening, for answering all of our questions and for giving us this great information on the program.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
All right. And thank you to all of you, our attendees this evening. Thanks for spending a couple of, an hour with us. We appreciate your time and your interest in our programs. Please let us know if you have any additional questions or if you need any additional assistance. We look forward to reviewing your applications.